And hey, hello. My name is Priscilla Mensa, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a coconut oil and salt bar using natural ingredients. And I want to thank everybody who's watching me here on YouTube, and I'm actually going to go live on Instagram as well. All right. Hey. Let's see. I'm going to hit Instagram and go live. All right. Here we go. Hi, I am Priscilla. How y'all doing today? I hope you're having a beautiful Monday. It is rainy as heck here in Houston, and it's welcomed. I love when it rains. It's beautiful. Reminds me of my Portland days where we had overcast, rainy days pretty much throughout the year, except for the glorious summer. All right, so last week I kicked off 52 weeks of soap making, and it was a lot of fun. I had a really good time getting back into my craft. And so, what I want to be doing this week is kind of carrying that on to week 2 of soap making. So, if you were with me last week or you watched the replay, you'll see that I had focused my intention on honoring Saint Florian, who is the patron saint for soap makers, for brewers, and also for chimney sweeps and firefighters, most famously. And so this is kind of my opportunity, I guess, every week to make a soap that is meaningful to me in some way or that simply inspires me. And today, so if last week was about making soap that was super meaningful to me, this week is going to be about making soap that is inspired by some inner creativity that I feel. And so I was going through my fragrance collection, and let me show you my this is my work area here. So I do a lot of my soap making on this rolling cart. And the reason why I like to use this is because it's mobile. I can put all, let me flip this Instagram. So as you can see, I do my soap making on this nice rolling cart that I actually got off of Amazon, and my husband helped me put it together a few years ago. And so basically what you see here are fragrances I've collected over the years. And some of these I just can't get enough of. Some of these fragrances I really didn't care for, and that's why there's so many in here. But what I've done is I've actually just pulled out the fragrances that I felt most called to today. And so I can show you a little bit more about what those are. I have orange essential oil here. Very nice, beautiful, pungent scent. I've got some lemon essential oil too. I've got some ginger essential oil. And not this one, but not that one. And good old lavender essential oil. May or may not want to use that. I'm also going to pull out this clove bud essential oil. So looking at something with orange, lemon, ginger, and a little bit of spice with cloves is where I'm thinking I'm going to take this. And you know what? I'm also going to include cedar wood. And I'm feeling drawn to like some spice and citrus kind of scent I'm being called to in this 100% coconut bar. So I'm going to go ahead and prop up my camera. Maybe I can do it like this. Okay, so like I mentioned, I got 2 cameras going. One is streaming on Instagram, and the other is streaming on YouTube. So hopefully these combine well, and no matter where you decide to watch this or catch the replay, you'll be able to. All right, cool. So I'm going to get the bulk of my fragrances out of here. Oh, how I love fragrances. Okay. And I'm going to just kind of make my work area a little neater. I'm also feeling called to do something with these mint leaves here. So I'm going to do some kind of a minty top. Maybe I'll bring some peppermint essential oil out, actually. Let me see how much of that I have on hand. Thanks again for joining me. Da, da, da. Okay. All right, I will stick with the leaves. Okay, so to start, I'm going to take all of my supplies and just kind of lay out what I need to work with first. So that means I'm going to put all of the hardware together. So I have my crock pot. It's already plugged in, but I haven't turned it on yet. So let me get that going. I'm going to put the pot in it, and I'm going to turn it on high so that the melting process will go pretty fast once we get going. So I mentioned I'm going to do 100% coconut oil, and I'm actually going to go and show you how I'm calculating this recipe. If you were to do this one by hand, it's pretty simple since it's a single oil soap. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the behind the scenes of how the recipe actually comes together. So it should be pretty fun. Hello, Keisha. Yay. All right, so if you are following me on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen, and I think this will go better than it did last time. So I'm going to head over to the Brambleberry calculator. All right, so I'm going to head over to the Brambleberry calculator, and I'll show you exactly how I'm coming up with the bones of this recipe. And once again, the Brambleberry calculator online here, it's a really great resource. And if you're interested, if you're interested in learning, about what are the different fatty acids that I need in order to make soap, and you're curious about just like the structure of the bar, there's a whole world that you can dig into. And so I definitely recommend jumping into a soap making book. One of the brilliant ones that I showed you last time, I'll pull out one of my favorite. I call it one of the OG original gangster soap making books. It's called The Soap Maker's Companion here. And so, this book, it's good for so many reasons. Primarily, I say it's good because when you go through the pages, you do get an idea of what are the different ingredients, what are their properties, why do you want to use them. It gives a good overview of like the soap making process, and gives you an overview of pretty much all the important details that you need if you're getting started or if you want to kind of make some more advanced soap. Cool, cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is share my screen for YouTube, and we're going to go to this Brambleberry tab. And then I'm going to add. All right, perfect. Oh, actually, okay, so I am forever learning how to use all this cool stuff. So it turns out that for those on YouTube, you're going to be able to see me, hi, and also see the Brambleberry screen. Pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to flip this around and all right, show you guys what I'm going to do. So we're going to do a solid soap, and we're going to calculate our soap in ounces. And so I chose ounces because I know that I want the soap to basically create me 1 pound of soap oils. So we're going to calculate about nearly 16 ounces of oil. And I have a calculation that I used in the past where if you have a rectangular container, you can essentially plug its dimensions into a formula, and then it'll tell you how much oil to use in the bar of soap. I promise soap making is not very mathematical. There's just enough math in soap making to keep you on your toes. And this equation that I'm telling you about, I'm actually flipping to it in my soap notebook. Yep, okay, so essentially to fill a certain mold that I have called mold 1504, you would multiply the width times the height times the depth, and then you will get the volume in inches cubed, and then you multiply that by 0.4, and it tells you the ounces of oils that you're going to need in order to completely fill that mold. And so I'm going to use basically an equivalent of this mold. So we're going to go with 14 ounces of oils, which is about a pound. Okay, cool stuff. All right, so we're gonna, I'm gonna hit the percentages, and then the weight of oils for this one, I'm gonna do 14 ounces of oils. And we're gonna do a coconut oil bar. And so since, I hear some people say that this can be a drying soap, I'm going to do a 10% super fat. And now I'm going to hit next. So we're going to go down to coconut oil. And I'm just going to do 100%, boom, and hit next. And then this wonderful calculator pops out a recipe and tells us, so we knew how much coconut oil we were going to use, but it tells us that we're going to need 5 ounces of liquid and 2.2 ounces of sodium hydroxide or lye. So I'm going to actually print this out because I am an old lady and I like to have the paper in my hand so I can check it off and put it in my notebook and all that good manufacturing practice, GMP stuff. Okay, and so this is the recipe that we are going to be working with today. Cool stuff. All right, so I'm gonna, oops. All right, so I'm going back to propping this Instagram camera up. And yes, if you have any questions now or on the replay, please feel free to ask. All right, cool. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I know this recipe is going to go by pretty quick. I'm going to grab my scale. And then we'll be rolling. Now, something I've always thought about is how, a bar of soap, simple bar of soap, can be so transformative. A friend of mine who took one of my very first soap making classes that I ever taught, before I started teaching the community, I tested my class out on a group of my really good friends. And let me put this down here. All right, so I'm just turning that YouTube camera down now. And so I had my good friends sit in on the class. And so they got a chance to make soap from scratch. It was a lot of fun, lots of laughter, and also a lot of education. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm all about making soap. And one thing I was so surprised about is when a friend told me that this is her special occasion soap. And so the soap that we made in the class, literally when she has, an important event to go to, that's the soap that she uses when she's getting ready. And I just loved that. I thought it was so cute and just really gave me like this whole other context of why soap can be important, what it can mean for somebody. It's like, oh, the regular soap is for every day, but no, I'm going to a special event tonight, and so I'm going to use my special soap. I absolutely love it, and it just really made me smile. Okay, so got everything out. This is quite hot, and I'm going to turn on my scale here. Yeah, and we're going to measure out 14 ounces of coconut oil. And, I do talk a lot about, I guess, passions in life. And I think that something I noticed having a kid is all of what I'm doing is just like encouraging both of my kiddos to be active, to try things, to not be scared, to approach things confidently, even in their young toddler phase. With my little baby, he's exploring this new world of crawling. And so, he's pulling himself and pushing himself and moving across the carpet. It's amazing. And meanwhile, my almost 2-year-old, she is so adventurous, jumping off of things, wants to climb everything. And as a mom, I'm here to simply encourage that good behavior, encourage that curiosity, because it's going to encourage their growth. When I think about, encouraging her to, pick flowers or whatever it is that we're doing, hanging out outside, it's from this standpoint of like, oh, like in the future, she's going to need to be comfortable in her environment. She's going to need to be able to feel free and explore. And I don't know at what point, what age we're at when we stop looking to explore and stop looking for curiosity in life. But yeah, it's just something that really stuck out to me in this journey of motherhood that I'm on. And so I guess in some way it links to what I'm doing here, because I do feel this pull for creativity, this pull for curiosity, and here I am putting it into something, and I like how useful it is. All right, so we got 14 ounces of olive oil, so just gonna pick that up and put it into the crock pot. So actually, I'm gonna slide this out the way for now. Slide this forward. And I'm getting so much, more practice at editing videos now, so I can't wait to see what I come up with for this. And I also look forward to outsourcing video editing. So if you know anybody who likes to edit videos, please reach out. All right, so this is all of the coconut oil, and it becomes liquid at 76 degrees. So it's going to take a little time to melt. Not too much time. I'm going to grab my spatula and get the rest of this out of here. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is put the lid back on this so it will heat up and melt, and we're going to measure out our distilled water. So I got the crock pot over here, and I've got the weigh scale over here, and I'm going to tare it. There we go, we're at 0. And I'm going to measure out the 5.2 ounces of liquid. I was pretty fascinated when I learned that the liquid water that is used to make soap is not something that is necessary in the soap itself. So to explain that a little better, basically to make soap, you're combining a lye and water solution with oils, mix it together, it becomes soap. But the water that is in it, this water here that I just poured, its whole purpose is to basically to dissolve the lye. That's the full purpose of it. It's not meant to do anything else in the actual bar of soap other than to marry the lye and the oil, and then the soap eventually evaporates. It's pretty amazing. It's kind of like when you're in a group and you've got 2 groups of people and maybe they don't get along, and then you just have like that one intermediary that can talk to both kinds of people and they come together. And that's what water is in this process. Water is that cool, connected friend that knows how to bridge gaps between folks. And then before you even realize it, those two groups of people have gone on to create great things. Meanwhile, water has moved on and is going to do bigger and better things with bigger and, more diverse groups of people. So water is like this awesome champion for change out here. Low-key. So I'm going to mix this olive oil. I'm going to mix this coconut oil. I normally make an olive oil soap or include olive oil in some way, but interestingly, not with the last batch and not with this one. The last batch I made was 3 butters, and it was so nice. All right, so this is melting nicely, and honestly, it's melted enough. I'm going to turn this guy back on, and we're going to measure out 2.24 ounces. So I keep the lye locked up so it doesn't accidentally get into the wrong hands. And all right, I'm going to open the window up. Okay. And it's a nice rainy day. Okay, so there we go. Opening up the sodium hydroxide very carefully. Got my gloves on, and I'm going to even put on my safety goggles because safety is first, not second. Okay, so we're gonna do 2.2 ounces. Yeah, permission to be creative for the sake of creativity. All right, 1.6. And And to recap, we need 2.24. All right, 2.2. Good enough for me. All right, so we're going to close that up. And I'll say soap making is constantly keeping your area nice and clear. All right, so now we've got the lye. I'm going to put this down here on the windowsill. And then I've got this distilled water. And we've got our completely melted coconut oil. I'm going to move all this to the side. Okay. What's up? Now, I'm doing this at the windowsill because if you know anything about soap making, you're aware that this is the part you need to be the most careful about and be the most deliberate about. And this is where we mix together the lye and the liquid. And in this case, our liquid is distilled water. All right, so I got my Instagram camera going. So, hello peeps. And I'm gonna get my YouTube camera. I'm gonna focus up there. Can I get any closer? I think I can get closer for YouTube. Perfect. Okay, so yes, outside, open air. I'm actually gonna pour this outside. Okay. Well, this is fun. This is the mad scientist portion of soap making. And so, like I said, the water in this case is a catalyst. It's the agent of change. Honestly, the water is kind of like if you've ever gone through change management at your job, and then they hire a team to come in and they help with putting together like a whiteboard with the numbers to track and all of that stuff. It's kind of like that. That's the water. They come in, they provide a way for different groups of people in the company to communicate, and then they move on to the next place. Okay, so I'm gonna let that sit on the windowsill for a little bit. And while that is doing its thing, I'm gonna clean up. Yeah, I just spilled a bunch of lids, but it's all good and good. Just spilled a bunch of lids. Okay. I'm surprised the power has not gone out yet. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So this is chilling and it's doing its thing. And while that happens, I'm going to measure out our fragrance oil. So I'm looking for a total of an ounce, and I have a pretty good idea of what I'm gonna do. Orange, I have lemon, a dash of cedar, and we're gonna do a dash of clove. Mm-mm-mm. Alright, so we're at simply 0.4, and we need to get to 1 ounce. Okay, so oh my gosh, that smells so good already. Definitely I'm gonna go stronger with the lemon and the orange. Okay. Alright, this smells so good. Oh, there we go. Yeah, might I add, we also have a tornado watch going on. Okay. So we've got our soap here. So this is 100% coconut oil, 14 ounces. And I have my Lion water solution, and you can see here it's clear, it's ready to go. And I'm gonna pour this right in. Okay. All right, so I just added the Lion water solution to the coconut oil, and now I'm going to actually stick blend this up. All right. Very good texture. All right. Nice. Okay, put this Instagram cam back up. And this is going to be a really nice salt bar. So let me get my salt crystals out. And I'm debating if I should add any color to this. But you know, I'm just going to be leaning into what makes me feel creative today. And this is like a lemony bar. I'm going to do some kind of like, I don't know, let's go with yellow. I don't think I've ever used yellow mica. So I'm going to open up this mica and I'll just put it in at this point because why not? This is called Buttercup from Brambleberry. Ooh, it turned this really cool orange color. I was not expecting that, I'll tell you what. All right, so I'm going to now clean up my stick blender, and then we're going to let our soap cook because we are doing this the hot process method. So I mentioned that we are going to have soap in the bar, and the soap will come into play, or the salt is going to be in this bar toward the end. So I'm going to put all this to the side for now. And it's also time to do some cleanup. Cool. Yeah, so this is the fun part. I call this part the cook, the unofficial name for this section where, the crock pot's on high, this is very hot, and we're just pushing the soap to go through the stages of saponification and go through its different stages of gelling. Pretty fun. And I'm going to grab my salt. So I'm using pink Himalayan salt, and I have two different varieties of it. So we're going to do the granulated, and then we'll do on top some pretty regular, large size crystal granules on top. Yay. So this is week 2, dedicated to pure creativity. I remember many years ago, it was probably back in 2014 or 2015 when I was first getting started making soap. And then, talking with somebody and going on and on and on about soap and my hobby, my passion. And the person was like, so, what else are you interested in other than soap? And I just looked at this person like, what? And I think my perspective on that was, as a typical, person working a 9 to 5, I had gone so long of my adult life not really having any kind of hobby. And so when I found soap making, or when soap making found me, it was such a revelation to have something to be excited about, something to be interested in outside of, just the humdrum of day to day, go home, watch TV kind of life. And so to me, soap making was enough. So when somebody asked me, oh, what else are you interested in? I was like, well, this is my thing. And I guess that's why I remember that conversation so much, is because I just felt so like resolute and hey, I know what my thing is. It's here. So I'm gonna pop this open so you can see the inside, and don't let it fool you. Like, a lot is happening under the surface. You don't ever want to leave hot process soap by itself, because it will volcano, which means it will bubble up and lift the lid of the crock pot. So you do need to be around and vigilant as the mixture starts to rise up. Okay, so got this lovely, got this lovely concoction here of lemon, orange, cloves, and I've got some minty leaves I'm gonna put on top. This smells like tea. And one of these weeks during my 52 weeks of soap making challenge, I'm absolutely going to do some kind of a tea soap. It's been on my idea list for years now. A whole series of soaps with actual brewed tea infusions. It's going to be so fun to do. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm just going to take my spatula, give it a good mix. And this is a single oil soap. It's very thick. We've got a 10% superfat of coconut oil. So, coconut oil is a nice thick oil. This is going to be a hard bar of soap. It's going to be a very hard bar of soap. Okay, cover that back up. And you can see it's a different kind of cook process than when I did my 3 oil soap last week, or my 3 butter soap. So I'm going to continue keeping an eye on this and continue cleaning up. It's the beautiful sound of a busy house. And once again, shout out to my husband Ben for being so gracious and keeping everybody out of this room, from in-laws to parents to kiddos to the dog, so that I can be in here making soap. Anyone who is a parent of toddlers knows that, it's real. As I like to say, toddlers do not respect the law. They don't care. And, okay. So take a look at this. All right, I see it. The color is getting dark and very beautiful. This is, wow. Okay, so if you remember just before, the texture of this was super, like really thick. And now the texture of this is not very thick at all. It's kind of soupy. I'm very surprised at how this is going. So I'm going to continue to let it cook. Put this lid back on top. I'm just going to let it continue to do its thing. Okay, and I want to say hello to everybody on the YouTube channel. Appreciate you hanging out with me for about 50 minutes now on our soap making journey. I have our mold ready, I have my additives ready, I have my fragrance ready, and chilling, watching this go, watching this bubble and cook, taking its time, and then we'll add in the ingredients in their due time. There's no rush to the soap making process. Yeah, we always talk about how soap needs lye and water and it needs oil. And I don't know if it's technically implied, but it needs time. The soap making process needs time to take place. Just like any good relationship, you need time for all the parties to meld together and become uniform and become one. And there's no rushing that process, as far as I know. It takes the time that it takes. And look at how the texture is changing and how the soap is rising up. And you see how the color is even changing? I mean, I poured in butterfly yellow mica. It turned orange and then pink. And now we've got this white color coming up. Maybe it will turn yellow at the end. I don't know. We're going to find out what happens. I normally let this cook until it bubbles over within itself. So I'm going to hang back and let it ride. Hey! And while I've got you here, I'm going to tell you more about my soap making materials checklist. And let me flip my camera around for Insta. Here we go. All right, so my soap making inception, my soap making materials checklist here. And so on it, I have this download that gives you an idea of all of the materials that you're going to need to make your first batch of soap. It's pretty good as far as just kind of being a punch list, a hit list of what you need to have on hand. And thankfully, I didn't include specific ingredients. You can find recipes on my website at superpowersoap.com/soapblog. But what you have here is essentially the ingredients and materials you need to craft your own recipe. So if you take this list and you get your goggles, your protective gloves, your long sleeve shirt and your pants, closed-toed shoes, vinegar, water, oils, lye, essential oils, and then all the materials I have listed here. The idea is you can go to the Brambleberry lye calculator, like I shared with you, and then create your own recipe. So check that out. The link is in bio. I love saying that. Yeah, I love saying link in bio. It is definitely a super influencery thing to say, and I want to liken myself to being a soap making influencer. Like, that's my goal for 2024, because why not? Okay, I'm a new mom, and I am going to be nothing if not a future embarrassing mom to my kids. Okay, mama's making soap. Mama's making soap. Mama's making soap. Mama's making soap. And those on YouTube got to see me do a little dance. Ah. Okay, so look at this. Telling you, this is awesome. So you got this like mashed potato-y texture. We're almost there. And I'll say the color is now, it's a slight yellow. The yellow kind of came back. And I'm going to get ready to dump the salt in this. And I'm going to use all of this salt. This has got to be about 4 tablespoons of salt. So we're going to salt it up. And I might leave out the mint this time and do something minty next time. So you might be wondering, how do you know when the soap is done? So I'm going to show you how. And there are numerous ways to do this. I'm going to show you a pretty reliable way using a chemical called phenolphthalein. And you can find this at any science supply store, any chemical supply store, or any fragrance and soap making or candle making supply store. So I'm going to grab the phenolphthalein, and I must have put it in a different spot than last time. Haha! Let me turn this back to the show. Okay. Well, we're just gonna jump ahead to mixing our soap. Smells wonderful. I'm gonna add the fragrance. And we're going to add a nice big old chunk of salt. Okay, good, good, good. Beautiful. I certainly smell orange. I'm gonna actually add in some orange mica. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful soap. Let me turn this off. And there you have it. So this is going to go into its mold. This is unintentionally a spicy orange dreamsicle pound of soap. This smells really, really good. Oh my gosh. Definitely smells like an orange creamsicle. Just one of my favorite ice creams. Okay. Yay! Woo woo woo! Superpower soap! Superpower soap! Superpower soap! Yay! Alright, and this is our final bar. So our final batch of soap. And here we are. It's beautiful Himalayan pink soap. 100% coconut oil, scented with orange, lemon, cloves and cedarwood, and ginger. Smells like a dream. Thanks for joining. Peace. Oh, and boom, boom. All right, thank you, YouTube. So this is the final bar. This is how it turned out. It looks beautiful, and we're gonna let it set up and do its thing, and we'll cut it once it is good to go.